Ridiculous questions.
Meticulously debated.
This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Citing all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, the monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light is my far past his way.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. I'm going to be your moderator today, Josh Ballard.
Hello, Josh. I'm Joe from House Gryffindor, and I'll be a debater.
Hello, my name is Ryan, and I'm going to be debating as well. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast to everybody who wants to listen to that. That was awful. I'm going to go ahead and petition that you all just stop that immediately because I can't.
Ah, bloody hell.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Hopefully no one has already turned off the show.
Yeah, I personally, I've already turned it off, and I'm on it. So that's not great.
It wouldn't be the first time that's happened to us.
Well, if you can't tell, we have decided that we, I guess, we're going to continue our series talking about problematic Brits and address probably one of the last major film and media franchises that we haven't covered yet. I mean, we've gotten Marvel, we got DC, we got a twofer there, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The only ones I can't think we've done is Star Wars, and we have not done anything Game of Thrones related.
I don't know that we're going to touch Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I think we should eventually.
We may have to discuss that one, but Joe did mention the Force in Sandy Cheeks in Hell.
That's true. So we have at least touched on Star Wars.
So that was I would call that a Star Wars tangent more than a Star Wars topic.
Well, I feel like
I think we also mentioned that because didn't I say that Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper in one of the episodes?
You did. So we James Bond. There we go. We also got James Bond in there. We've gotten.
That is definitely one we should bring up as James Bond.
The media franchises will never end. They need us is really
we need them.
It's true. No. They need us.
Yeah, they need the Tell Me I'm Wrong boost badly.
It's going into Harry Potter season, and he needs us to get us to drag him through. Because 2020 is bad.
You got
Folklore
Scars,
came out.
PSLs. Oh yeah, Folklore came out, and she's like, you know what? Summer's over.
I've still not listened to that.
Well, that's a shame. You should really get into that.
I keep meaning to, and then I get distracted.
I'm actually surprised this is the first time we've mentioned Folklore on this podcast. Of course, I guess we've only recorded like one since it came out.
I'm actually surprised it's the first time we've mentioned Taylor Swift on this podcast.
One of the other big media franchises we need to cover.
I was going to say,
add it to the list.
She's a media franchise. We'll add Taylor to the list.
Anyways, what we wanted to talk about today is really kind of, we were thinking about the world that Harry Potter exists in, thinking about Hogwarts. And
England?
Yes, Joe, England. And we're talking about Hogwarts.
The world he existed.
Well, sort of, right?
I think he meant more the metaphysical world that they live in, not the world. They live in the world.
And quite honestly, I probably have, and it's good that I'm moderating because I probably have the least knowledge of Harry Potter of anybody in the group. I think that would be fair to say.
I'll admit, I for a while leaned pretty hard into the Harry Potter fandom. I went to most of the premieres of the movies. I actually
Here's an important question. Did you dress up?
I dressed up.
Oh, what a nerd.
I don't think I did. I actually don't think I dressed up. I think I may have done. I may have done like a t-shirt situation, but not like a dress up.
There's nothing wrong dressing up to go to a movie premiere. I have done it a few times. The last time I did it went so horribly wrong.
Was it the Wiggles?
It was not the Wiggles. That was a different time.
They have a movie?
The last film that I dressed up for was one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. It came out in 2009.
What a loser.
Now listen, I was graduating high school that year. A bunch of people in our class were like, "Let's go see Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's dress up."
Was it the third one?
Probably. I remember it was very long and I fell asleep.
It was super long and it was like really hyped up. Like it ended up being pretty good. It was like a huge release at the time. I do remember that.
But for that one,
because
me and my buddy went and bought full on pirate costumes. Like I had a hat, shirt, pants, a parrot on my shoulder. Eyeliner? There was no eyeliner. But the thing that made me stop dressing up for movies was while we were on our way to this film.
Women?
Well, maybe. But on the way to this film, we got in a little fender bender, just a little love tap.
Oh, no.
And having to get out on one of the major roads in our town, me and my buddy dressed in full pirate gear, and the guy that hit us just started dying laughing the second he got out.
Well, I would too.
I bet you got out of it. I bet you guys left after that because he was like, I can't take you seriously.
Well, it wasn't our fault. He made our lives miserable by making me stand in pirate costume on the side of the road. But after that, I couldn't ever dress up for a movie premiere ever again.
So I've never dressed up for a movie premiere. I've went to quite a few movie premieres, but I never dressed up for one. But when I was a kid, I used to go to the UK dentist office, and my dentist name
University
was
of Kentucky.
Shannon. Yes, Shannon Fraley was my dentist. Mm-hmm. And
name drop.
Shout out.
So he was a huge Star Wars fan, bringing back Star Wars. Uh-huh. He actually commissioned my father to machine out of a solid piece of billet aluminum, $1,000 piece of aluminum, an exact replica of Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber that was apparently true to weight.
That is
my
badass.
gosh.
And he went to Regal and had lightsaber battles in front of the theater for episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
That's less than badass, but the first part was awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say that brought it down a little bit.
He ended up paying like $2,000 for this lightsaber.
Whoa.
Okay,
And
that's also not.
had a tailored Obi-Wan Kenobi costume that like fit him. It was
Listen, I'm a big supporter of the cosplay community. I think it's awesome. They have a hobby that, you know, I don't have anything I'm that invested in. If this show ever got to where it costs that much money, I'll bail immediately. Like, absolutely not. I'm not that invested.
Cosplay is cool, but to go stand in front of a theater and have mythical lightsaber duels.
But I bet all the kids who were coming to the movie really enjoyed that. I also my fandom goes a little bit deeper because I actually also went to 2 of the book premieres where I waited in line at a bookstore to get the books.
Josh, what am I doing right now?
Joe is shaking his head vigorously. I actually went to our local independent bookseller for the release of the 7th
Is this
book.
Joseph Beth? Is that what you're...
This was
Joseph Beth flex?
Wait, I was there.
You were there? Ryan, I was there too.
I was there.
I went.
We were there.
And I picked up my copy of the book and I never opened it.
Oh, that's so sad.
I just went for the experience, you know?
Okay.
I remember my buddy, Matt, shout out Matt. He listens to the show. He read the whole book in that one night. He stayed up all night and read it.
I had a friend who did that
slept
too.
in his chair in his room and just completely ignored the book.
That book's like 1,800 pages.
No. It's like 6.
Yeah, well, they all get too long. I read the first 3, and then when the 4th one came out, I saw that thing, and I don't know how old, and I was like, nope, I'm out.
The 4th one was a test in the fandom. It was to they really wanted to find out who was committed.
So I didn't start really reading Harry Potter until I believe I was a senior in college.
Late bloomer.
Interesting time to start.
I started, this was my victory lap year at college. So I started
super senior.
Yes, I started that summer, and I remember when I was a kid, someone had given me the Harry Potter books, and this was before the last movie came out, and my goal was to read all the books before the last movie came out. Okay. And I was working on campus, and I would literally go to the library and check out the Harry Potter books on tape and put it on my iPod and like ride my bike to campus and listen to the story on my bike, and then like while I played Xbox 360 and all that. So, but the whole time I lived with, and you guys know some of these guys, Derek, I lived with Bo, who was on our show a couple weeks back.
Shout out to friend of the pod, Bo.
And
lots of shout outs.
They would
week.
keep asking me where I was in the books and then make up stuff. And they kept going, has America shot the nuke into Hogwarts yet and blown them up because they don't believe in wizards? And I was like, no, not yet. And they're like, it'll get there. It's in the 7th book. And I was like, I'm in book 4. And they're like, well, a nuke comes in and destroys Hogwarts. And they just tried to, like, the whole time to convince me that a nuke was coming in and blow up Hogwarts because Americans didn't believe wizards should exist.
Oh my gosh.
And then when I went and saw Harry Potter 7 Part 1, it was the first time I saw it after reading the book. The reel melted in the middle of the movie.
What?
Yes. You've never been to a theater when it happened?
Theater were you at that hadn't switched to digital?
What jank? Were you at
It was
Woodhill?
Cinemark in Richmond.
Oh, well.
Richmond.
And this was also 2010.
Still, that shouldn't happen.
Should have been
They
digital.
still use reels. They use digital reels. They don't
10
just
years
put in
ago?
like a USB drive. No, it's still in a reel.
They pirated Harry Potter 7 to show it at the movie theater.
But we're sitting there in the middle of it, and they're like running through the woods because they're in the woods for 7.5 hours in that movie.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, the screen just starts melting, reds and blues, and the reel melts.
And Joe was like,
the
"Oh
lights,
no, the nuke hit Hogwarts."
Yes,
The nuke.
the lights came on. They were like, "Sorry, folks." It was like, actually, if you ever seen the movie National Lampoon's Vacation, he's like, "Sorry, folks, you should have talked to the moose." It was John. Is that John Candy? Yeah, John Candy.
Yeah.
It was some big old fat guy in Winchester. "Sorry, folks, the reel messed up. Go back outside and get your ticket." And they gave us a
What?
ticket, and we went back like a week later and watched it.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
So
in our research for Harry Potter, I did discover something that I thought was pretty interesting. That was, some theories around Hogwarts and whether or not there might be some other houses that exist, and maybe they're just not as important. And
before we get much farther, sorry, Josh, what is your all's favorite movie
favorite movie ever?
Favorite movie or
or
favorite book? Because
which are the
it's
Harry
different.
Potter?
So for me, my favorite book is book 4, which is the Triwizard Tournament, and so it's not a very popular pick for the favorite book, but that is my personal favorite book, followed by 6, which is the
Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince. But movie wise, I think Half-Blood Prince is my favorite movie, followed by probably the 5th one.
Josh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. This seemed like a conversation to have before we had the next conversation.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was going to say my favorite book in the series is probably the first one, because that was one of the only ones I read, and I don't remember the name of it. And my favorite movie, so someone mine and Ryan's age, we were very in line with the movies and like the age of the characters. So my favorite movie was probably the one where all of a sudden it came on. I was like, oh, Hermione. Yeah.
I think my favorite book was 6, Half-Blood Prince, but my all-time favorite movie for sure is 5. Order of the Phoenix. They learn how to fight. That's when
They
Ginny
did a great job. I mean, while we're getting, not so much funny here, but I feel like they did a great job on the 5th movie capturing like the darkness of the book.
Yeah,
because that book was super dark.
I love that movie. Okay, sorry to interrupt, Josh. Going back to what you were about to go with, because it's going to be good.
So hopefully I can get through this without a rude interruption this time. But we were looking at...
If we ever stuck to that rule, then this show would not go on. This whole show is basically built on interruptions.
That's true. I mean, this quite honestly...
You can't have a debate show without interruption.
It's true. And to be fair, I'm the worst at interrupting. So...
You are.
I'm getting what I deserve. So anyways...
Okay, but one more thing. All right, I'm done.
It's like this podcast is one of my Horcruxes and you all are trying to destroy it. This is terrible. Anyways, did I get that right? Is that how that works?
That's
sort
close
of.
enough.
Okay.
It was a rough reference.
Well,
there.
I tried my best. Anyways, what I was trying to get at is that there are some theories about maybe some lost houses or some stuff about Hogwarts that just maybe got left out of the books and movies. And so I actually was doing a little bit of research when we were talking about doing a topic about Harry Potter. And I was like, I found this thing from John Oliver where he actually had found a 5th Harry Potter house. And it was on his show last week tonight. And he called it Snarglebargle.
A very John Oliver word.
A very, very John Oliver word. And it was exclusively for cowards, which I think is something that is missing in the Harry Potter world, if we're being honest. But I wanted to task you all with putting your mind to it and really, really coming up with what the missing houses of Hogwarts would be. And then I was going to pick the one that I think is the best and most likely to be in this world. So for those of you who maybe don't know a ton about Harry Potter, like myself, or if it's been a while at this point.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I mean, if you're not one of the ones that gets their PSL and watches all the Harry Potter movies at Thanksgiving, you may not remember all this. So I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. So the Hogwarts in the books and movies had 4 houses. You had Gryffindor. They were like the brave ones, daring, courageous. You know, that's what Harry Potter was. He was a Gryffindor. That's what all the main characters were. Then you had the Hufflepuffs, which actually I took the quiz on the website, and I'm a Hufflepuff, so I fit into there.
We forgot to mention. I feel like this is important for people to know. I am a Ravenclaw.
Oh, that's not surprising, actually. What about you, Joe?
I took it twice and got 2 different answers. I think I was a Hufflepuff in one and a Gryffindor in other.
But I think we all came to the consensus that you're definitely a Gryffindor.
Yeah,
I don't see Joe being a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff seemed weird to me, but whatever.
Well,
The Hufflepuff motto is do what is nice, and I don't think I would ever define Joe as doing what is nice.
Yeah. I was going to say it probably feels weird to you because their values are like loyalty, patience, fairness. Actually, you're very loyal. I'll give you that one. But patience.
I was like, man, thanks, guys.
Patience.
I do think bravery, daring, nerve, chivalry, and moral compass would probably be.
But I also think you have to look at the weakness of Hufflepuff to really find out where that Joe doesn't fit. Naive, low self-esteem, and lack of ambition.
Yeah.
None of those are Joe.
Yeah. But I certainly fit into Hufflepuff. And then we have Ravenclaw, as Ryan mentioned. They're all about intelligence, wit, individuality. And then you have Slytherin, which is kind of made up to be the villains in the books and the movies. And that is obviously they're ambitious, cunning, resourceful, power hungry, not the nicest people, like to step on people to get to success. Not the best. So that's kind of what we're working with.
Their motto is basically, well, it is do what is necessary.
Yeah.
And so it's those people that are just going to do what they need to do. If you're a D&D person, they're the true chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
They're just going to take care of themselves.
Yeah. So what I wanted you all to do is I wanted you to kind of put together some of the basic facts about your house and let me pick the one that I think would most fit into this world. So for example, Gryffindor, their founder is Godric Gryffindor. Their motto is do what is right. Their values are bravery, daring, nerve, chivalry, and moral compass. Their weaknesses are being hot-headed. Their colors are crimson and gold. I mean, on and on. There's all sorts of stuff. Their house ghost. We absolutely need to talk about house ghosts. And they obviously have a poem if you really wanted to get real up into this game. So I wanted you all to
I might have gotten really up into the game.
I bet you would. So I just want you all to start. Why don't you give me the name of your house, their emblem, colors, some basic information so that we can kind of get a feel for what we're working with before we really dive deep into these.
Who would you like to go first?
I'm going to let Ryan go first because you seem very eager.
I guess you could say I'm eager. I feel pretty good about my choice. I did some animal representation research because I kind of wanted to base it on it seems like that's the way that J.K. went about her creation of the houses, because it seems like she started with the animal emblem and worked backwards. And so I kind of did the same thing. And so that was my approach. So I'll start with the animal. The emblem is an armadillo.
Good start.
Definitely seems like an animal you'd find in England.
It does not exist in England. That is true. It only exists in the Americas. But that's irrelevant because one of them is.
I thought they were in Africa too.
I don't think so.
I'm not a big armadillo expert, contrary to what y'all may think.
That's funny because I usually think of you as an armadillo expert.
I air a confidence when it comes to armadillo, but I don't really have to back it up.
So I'll stick with the basic info for now. So the armadillo is the emblem. Colors were a little bit difficult because a lot of the colors are covered with the first 4. Mm-hmm. So I went with purple and orange, kind of a Clemson type look.
Yeah, a little Clemson action, not terrible.
I love Clemson University, you all.
I know.
I'm not even gonna lie. I love that school.
They have great colors, great team. Love
armadillos.
That's right. Go armadillos.
Is there a college team with an armadillo as the mascot?
Probably like some super
Surely
small
there
school
is.
out west. So those are the colors. The founder's name is Carl Clamafor, and the actual name of the house is Clamafor. The way I got there is
Sounds like a sexually transmitted disease.
It does a little bit.
Or a prescription of some sorts.
Oh, it does. It does sound like a prescription commercial. I only said it out loud once before we actually started recording. I just wrote it down because it's one of the like scientific names for armadillo. So that's how I got there. Listen, I'm a DM at heart, and so this is me doing my DM background. The founder was a very short and round man with small glasses. He basically resembled an armadillo, and he had a little bit of a hunch to his back. So I'll let Joe introduce his.
Okay, so I tried really hard for like 3 days to come up with some name and person for this, and I was just cannot. And I was looking at, I was at work browsing a website known as yahoo.com. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it.
Yeah, classic.
And it told a story about a professional football team that had to change their name. And so I started thinking about this fifth house. Who would be in this fifth house? You have the brave, adventurous kids in Gryffindor. You have the villainous jerks in Slytherin. You have the freewheeling, loving Hufflepuffs.
Hey.
And you have the Ravenclaws who are like, I feel like they're the smart kids. But
That's
there's one group of people, one demographic of people that have not been represented. And that's nerds, losers, people who have no ambition. You guys all know who I'm talking about.
Like the cast-offs from Hufflepuff. Like the ones that weren't even good enough for that.
So I decided, in honor of the Washington football team, my house name would be the Hogwarts Student House. Its founder, Stuart Simpleton, was pressed for a name, couldn't come up with anything, panicked, and so he said we would just be the Hogwarts Student House.
He just gave up. So he fits in right with the people that live in that house.
He didn't have the ambition to come up with it.
He was asked for an answer and got nervous, and that's all I could come up with. Ryan, what other information did you give? I don't want to give too much.
I gave animal, colors, and then just a short description of the founder.
So the animal is the donkey, very similar to Eeyore.
Wait, is Eeyore a donkey?
Oh, bother.
He is.
Yeah, he's a donkey.
I made sure of that. I Googled it.
Oh,
And
I didn't
the
know that.
colors are gray and black.
That seems very fitting.
Earth tones. These people don't want to be avoided. They want to live in anonymity, because if they're avoided, or if they're seen, they become a target.
So they want to be
Yeah,
avoided.
I'm sorry, they want to be avoided. Yes.
So to put this into American football terms, with the gray and silver colors and the inept leadership, it's almost as if Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington football team, bought the Raiders.
yeah,
it's
pretty much.
the Raiders.
Okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Okay, so I like the directions that we're going here early. Ryan certainly has a very clear vision for the direction that he's going and what's lacking within the world of Hogwarts.
I did forget to mention the kind of student, which Joe did mention.
that is important.
So I'll mention quickly. So I'll go with the values. So they're very deliberate and very methodical, and they also value protection. Those were the words that were associated with armadillo. But if we're talking like in real world terms, it's the procrastinators. These are the kids that they put everything off. The founder, the reason that we don't hear about this house is because he kept putting off writing about it. He just never. They never really come to show up.
Lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, they don't really show up, and so these are the kids that they just kind of put everything off, and they're like, oh yeah, we were supposed to be in that movie. Oh, sorry.
So they sound like they're very competent people. They're just maybe a little late to doing things.
Exactly, and I will go on to prove that as we continue.
So I like the direction we're going then, because what we are lacking with these houses is we don't have what Joe has, which is a group of people who just aren't ambitious. They're just kind of the slackers. Like every school's got slackers. My values
were rule followers, can be numbers driven, can be intelligent. Because remember, this is also like losers.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
But they're still pretty punctual. Like they don't want to be noticed. They just show up to class. They sit in the middle.
There are still good
down.
students in both of these houses.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are idiots. Some of them are there because they got in trouble as a kid, and their parents are thinking Hogwarts will straighten them out.
Yeah, there are plenty of those. Okay, so we've got that with Joe, and we've got Ryan's being the kind of, I guess you could say, burnouts. They're the kids in school that are very smart, but they do so many activities, and their parents are pushing them into so many things that there's not enough time in the day, so they become procrastinators. Exactly. So yeah, I think those are two values that are definitely lacking in the world of Hogwarts. So now I want you to really dive deep into these. Give me kind of some in-depth information about like how they function within the society and in like the ecosystem of the school, and just kind of give me an idea of how they would really fit into the world. So to kind of keep the flow of how we've been going, I think I'm going to let Ryan go first and kind of give me the deep dive on his house.
All right, so I'm gonna give you all of the things that you're going to be thinking about for a house at Hogwarts. So first, we have the motto. So like the examples that I'll give are like for Gryffindor, it is do what is right. Hufflepuff, do what is nice. Ravenclaw, do what is wise. Slytherin, do what is necessary. So for my house, the procrastinators, I chose do it later. They'll get it done, and they tend to turn things in. They'll get it in, but it's not going to be. They're not going to be super prepared. So their motto is do it later. So each house also has some specific weaknesses listed. The weaknesses that you would see are pretty obvious. They're very slow. They do tend to lean towards indecision. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably their biggest downfall is they're trying to wait to make a decision and then it ends up hurting them.
Been there, done that.
So the head of house is the professor at Hogwarts. You have Professor McGonagall, who's the head of Gryffindor. Several heads of house for Slytherin. At one point it was Snape until he died. So the head of house for Clamophor is Albert Arduous. He never became a full professor because he kept putting it off. He didn't want to finish his dissertation. So he ended up just being an assistant teacher. So that's why you never really see him in the movies, is because he's usually just filling in when people are sick, or he
just like a beloved substitute.
Exactly. He knows a little bit. He knows enough about everything to kind of get by, and he doesn't get fired by Albus. Mm-hmm. But he kind of just skirts by. He never really wanted to finish. He has that dissertation sitting on his desk, and he just never finished it. So this is maybe my favorite part. The ghost. So the ghost for this house, they just call him the dude. It's a middle-aged wizard that wanders the corridors in his robe, and he just is always looking for a drink, always looking for a good time.
Like Jeff Bridges with a British accent.
Yeah, you could say he looks a little bit like Jeff Bridges. Yeah, they just call him the dude. So some famous alums of this house. One would be Leonard da Vinci's. He was a very infamous procrastinator, but ended up being credited with research in magic of time dilation. So that he could get all of his things done on time. So he just started making up spells.
Yeah, you would have thought they would have solved this problem through magic at this point. So it's good that he did.
So he came up with some very complicated spells to help him really get things done. The only other famous alum was Charlie Carlson. He kept putting off finding other jobs, so he just works as a janitor.
At Hogwarts?
Yes, at Hogwarts. He's even less well known than Filch, who's the current janitor. I want to save my poem for my final post moderator's office.
Okay.
I don't think Joe has one, but that's okay because I went above and beyond.
I have a saying.
Okay. So we'll save those for the end.
You can save that for the end, but I appreciate the thought and effort Ryan has put into his house, and now I'm curious to see where Joe goes with his. So tell us a little bit more about the Hogwarts Student House.
Okay, so Hogwarts Student House, founder Stuart Simpleton. The motto, I know that your alls are do what is right, do what is wise. Well, ours is simply we're here because we couldn't get in the others.
So they didn't even stick with the theme of the do what.
No, they couldn't do enough to get in the other houses, so they're here because they couldn't get in the others.
I love it.
Like I said, their values are rule followers, numbers driven. They can be intelligent, can be numbers driven. They typically don't break rules, are usually very tactful. Weaknesses, they're scared, lack of a go-getter attitude, generally needs a leader, considered dull. Animals, the donkey, very similar to Eeyore.
Joe, I have a very specific question. And I don't
Okay, lay it on me.
I don't mean to jump ahead in your flow here, but I'm really beginning to become worried that one of the famous alumni is going to be me.
No, yeah, we'll get to that. We will get to that. It's not you.
Okay. Because this is sounding like a very deliberate attack on myself.
Like I said, the animal's the donkey, very similar to Eeyore, slow, lame.
They couldn't even get the energy up to actually make up their own emblem, so it's literally just Eeyore on a flag.
Yes, but he's not even blue. It's still gray and black. And
yeah,
white.
they at least did the colors.
So the head of house is Wilhelmina Grubbly Plank.
Wilhelmina
Grubbly Plank. She is a substitute teacher at Hogwarts.
Oh, so many
care
substitutes.
Of magical creatures.
We went the same direction on that one.
Their head of household isn't even good enough to be picked as a full-time teacher at Hogwarts. They could only manage to get a substitute to rep them.
So this is like that really unpopular student organization at a school.
Yes.
They just took whatever teacher sponsor they could get.
The ghost is Professor Binns. He died, but got up and continued to go to work the next morning because he was afraid he was going to break his perfect attendance record. So he just kept doing it every day and then reports to work on time every day because that's one record he's never going to let die. Literally.
The more you talk, the more I'm feeling that this is very personal. But continue.
All right. You asked about famous alums. There are no famous alums because all of these people want to do all their work in the background of everything that's happened. They do not want to be out the front because then they could be a target or then they could be someone who would have to answer questions to people. And that's just not their way of life. They are very much a background workers. They are there to assist others mainly and to try to stay out of trouble and danger.
Yeah, again, really feels like this is directed towards me.
But you're a Hufflepuff, Josh.
I don't know. I might be a Hogwarts student house member.
They didn't have this house when they did his sorting hat, Ryan.
We should probably make a new quiz with our houses.
Yeah. Okay. I do have an important question because this was one of the few things in my Harry Potter viewings that really caught my interest, and that's because I enjoy sport. So obviously, Quidditch is a very big thing in the world of Harry Potter. So I'm just curious, before we go to the mod office, I just want to know, like, where do you think that they stack up in the hierarchy of the league? Like, where are they in the standings?
We are absolutely not playing Quidditch. It is far too dangerous. They keep the time and the score, and they are there to they verify all goals and keep the standings correctly. But they will not play.
So they're like the Student Athletic Council of Hogwarts.
They're like the equipment managers.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. What about Clamophore?
So I think the Clamophores have a team, and I think they win probably 1 or 2 games a year. There's definitely 1 to 3 games where they have to forfeit because people didn't show up. So I feel like they do okay. You know, they beat Hufflepuff every now and then, or if there's a lot of tests coming up, maybe they can catch Ravenclaw on a good week. But I definitely don't see them as being the athletic types.
Perpetually basement dwellers.
Exactly. Like, these are the kids who are, making mixtapes. They're not spending a lot of time on the Quidditch pitch.
Let's be honest. Quidditch is not like it's a pinnacle of athletic ability.
I don't know. You look at those good Quidditch players, and they're big dudes.
It's not. I wouldn't call it athletic ability. I would call it ability to fly well.
Let's go see you be a bludger.
Let's go see me fly on a broom, and I'll happily be a bludger.
There is one thing I wanted to bring up before we go to the mod office, which I feel like we're getting ready to do. There is an article that I shared with the fellows on our notes for this week. It is actually a time.com article. There's one specific portion that I really need to bring up because I just love how in depth the time.com people went. And there's a map of our great country, America, and it shows each state and what house they predominantly test as based on this online test. And this is based on a lot of people taking this quiz. And I don't know if you guys have looked at this or not. Do you want to guess what Kentucky
Hogwarts
is?
sorting house or student house?
No, I would doubt it's that.
This was before we found that house.
So if we're talking about the main four in our great state of Kentucky that we love so dearly, I guess Joe spoiled it for himself. I'm going to go. What are we actually? That's a different conversation. But what do I think Kentuckians made themselves into is Gryffindor.
That would be Slytherin.
Oh, we steered straight into Slytherin? We didn't even lie on the survey?
The whole South is a Slytherin.
The Southeast is dominated.
The Southeastern Conference is just there to wreck you.
We are talking Arkansas, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, and West Virginia. West Virginia is not South, but all Slytherin states.
That is
so. We will for sure share this link because I think people need to see all this data and just the time went into. It's appreciated.
I'm looking at this now, and they had 500,000 people take this survey, which.
Yeah.
The amount of unnecessary data that they now have about us is just astronomical. So kudos to them for that data grab. That's very impressive.
You can also go look at cities, and Lexington is a Slytherin city.
Oh.
We're living with the bad guys.
Man, I can't quite deal with this, but
I feel like I don't even know my own state.
Well, speaking of data grabs, how about we head to the moderator's office and see if we can get some people to sign up for our mailing list, buy some stuff. It'll be great. As Joe mentioned last week on Tell Me I'm Wrong, we have a new sponsor for this month, and that is My Kentucky Tea. My Kentucky Tea creates teas that celebrate everything there is to love about the great state of Kentucky and ships them directly to subscribers every single month. That's right, a Kentucky shirt subscription. What better way to show your pride, love, and passion for the Commonwealth than with an original Kentucky design on a super soft Bella Canvas tee, all for just $10 a month plus shipping. $10 a month plus shipping. You can't beat that. So sign up today for the Tea of the Month subscription and cancel at any time. Or you can prepay for 3, 6, or 12-month subscriptions for that special Kentuckian in your life. As a subscriber, you can change sizes month to month. So if you want to share with your spouse, your friend, your podcast host, or hell, maybe you just ate really well that month and need a bigger size the following month, you can do that. You also receive their monthly newsletter previewing the upcoming tea of the month, and you'll have special access to their entire inventory of past subscription teas, as well as other one-off designs that they've done. So head over to mykentuckytea.com, that's mykentuckytee.com, to subscribe, or just browse the shop link and pick up a couple great teas today. Now, this month, for the month of September that's coming up, they have an awesome old school Kentucky design. It's got an interlocking KY. It's on a dark blue shirt, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I'm going to have to grab one myself because it is an absolutely dope looking t-shirt. So head over there and sign up for that today. Or we have a lot of listeners that are not from here. They're from out of state. They're in other countries. So head over to their website and you can actually have some custom teas made if you have something in mind that you want to make. Maybe you want to make a Clamophore t-shirt or a Hogwarts Student House t-shirt. You can do that. So head over there today, mykentuckytea.com, and pay them a visit.
All right, one more thing before we head out of the moderator's office. We really just want to thank everyone for listening, and please continue to share the show. Word of mouth is the best possible way that we can continue to grow this show. So if you know of somebody who is a avid podcast listener, or if you think they might just really enjoy this crazy comedy debate show that we have, please share the show with them. Share your favorite episode. Tell them some of the crazy bits that we've gotten into. We would really appreciate it. So either share our link directly, or you can send them to our website, tmiwpod.com. We also want to hear from you. So go to tmiwpod.com, send us an email, sign up for our email, our mailing list. Or you can also use the hashtag TMIWPod on any social media, or reach out to us. We want to hear your debate topics. We want to debate things that you want to hear. So just give us a shout, and we hope to hear from you soon. Let's go back and finish this debate.
Okay, well, we're back here in the main office. We're settled down, and I think we're ready to wrap up this Harry Potter debate. So, back before the mod office, Ryan, you mentioned that you have a poem you'd like to share. Many of the houses, or all the houses, have their own poem, and you have written one specifically for Clamophore. And Joe has a phrase that represents the Hogwarts student house. And I want to hear those before we get to how we're going to make our decision this week. So I have started with Ryan this whole episode, so I will let you continue in that tradition.
All right. So I need to give one example just so there is some context for me reading this poem. So I'll read my house, and that is the Ravenclaw.
It's almost better with no context.
So the Ravenclaw poem goes like this. Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw, if you've a ready mind, where those of wit and learning can always find their kind. So this is something that the Sorting Hat would say. I think it actually is all these quotes come from the first book when the Hat is talking to Harry Potter. So this would be the portion that was omitted from the book because they didn't want to really tell the truth about Clamophore being in the houses. So here we go. You could be home in Clamophore, slow and thoughtful fellows, though Clamophore are oft considered just a wee bit yellow. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's beautiful. Snaps for Ryan.
When you said that, I pictured Back to the Future. He's like, "What are you, yellow?"
That's what the Hat says to someone when they get put in
I wrote that poem in about 3 minutes, so
I would have never known. Well, Joe, you mentioned that you had a phrase, so why don't you lay that on us, perhaps with a little less eloquence, as Ryan just did with his beautiful poem.
That was a really good poem. I'm not going to pretend like I could write a poem. I'm not a poet. So
I think calling me a poet after that poem is a little bit generous.
The phrase, the motto, if you will, of the poem of the Hogwarts student house is, as much as we want to be the heroes, that's just not safe.
So they also didn't even finish a full poem. That's all, they left it there.
I was going to say, that actually kind of tracks with the house. Yeah. They were like, we're not going to write a poem. They had to
write something down. No. Stuart Stapleton was like, I don't know what to do. And so he just...
yeah, they were like, we need your poem. And they were like,
Stu, where's your poem?
He was looking at Godric Gryffindor and was like, I'd like to be the hero too, but that's just not safe.
Just seems irresponsible.
Okay, well, first off, I appreciate the amount of research and prose that you have put into these houses for me. However, I think I'm quite honestly ready to make my decision now. You know, typically this is where I would say, let's cue the music, but I think we need to do something a little special this week because of our theme. And so I think we're going to have a sorting hat ceremony. What do you all think?
I think that sounds great.
I think it's really the only way that it can go. I think we have to sort our podcast into one of these two houses.
Well, it is now time to head into the Great Hall and begin the ceremony. Hello and welcome, first years, to Hogwarts. Today we will be sorting you into your houses, one by one with the help of the sorting hat. So when I call your name, please step to the front and find out which house you will belong to. First up is a podcast. Tell me I'm wrong. All right, I will place the hat on your head. Here you go. Tell me I'm wrong.
Is the hat clean?
No, it is, but very dirty.
I don't want lice.
Ah, lice? There's no lice in me. I get rid of the lice.
Okay, if you say so.
Oh, let me really settle in here on your head.
Don't move, it itches.
That's good. Nope, I have to move. I have to settle onto your head.
I can't see him.
Oh, there we are. That's a good spot right there. You've got a rather large head, son.
But listen, I try really hard.
It doesn't seem necessarily that way. Let me try to find what house you belong to.
I just hope it's a good one.
Ah, yes. Now, I will say, when you took your sweet time walking up here to the stage, which could certainly put you into clamor for.
Oh, jeez.
Being that you're not one who is too fast.
Too furious?
And you are also crying a bit, which leads me to believe that you are a coward. Are you a coward, son?
Everybody's looking at me.
Ah, yes, that is the nature of the Great Hall. Imagine being an old hat. Everybody looks at you.
There's a lot going on.
I will say, you could fit into the Hogwarts student house, I suppose.
Oh,
you do
geez.
seem rather simple. What are your thoughts on donkeys, son?
I mean,
do you like them?
Are they gonna kick me?
Oh, not these donkeys. These donkeys have far too much going on to kick you.
I don't know. Big animals scare me.
Ah, you are scared. What did you get on your ACT, son? Very important question.
Like middle?
That is not a number, son. I need a number. Middle is not an answer on the ACT.
Like 23?
Ah, that's pretty good. So, I mean, you're decently intelligent.
Thank you?
This is a tough one. I mean, I could say that your lack of bravery would put you into clamor for, but at the same time,
will this take much
you're
longer?
rather intelligent. Calm down.
Okay, please.
There's
sir,
so much head for me to wrap
please
around.
Please don't yell at me.
Oh, you are scared, aren't you? You're a scared little boy. I will place you in Clamour.
And once again, Ryan is the winner.
Boys, I don't know about you, but that was really weird. That hat.
Yeah,
I don't remember the hat.
Did you buy that hat?
No, that they shipped that to us just for this episode from Hogwarts.
We used to, you bought all those top hats that you used to pull.
Yeah, no, this was not one of the
top.
top hats. This one, I will say, I don't remember. Now, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I don't remember the hat being that mean and that talkative, personally.
And also, luckily it didn't happen on mic, but it was cursing a lot.
Yeah, the hat was obscenely cursing. Now, I know we've got the explicit tag, but we couldn't let that fly because it was saying some stuff that, I mean, some of the words I had not even heard with my virgin ears.
Who's that kid?
I mean,
I don't know. He seemed awful.
Apparently, that was the metaphysical representation of our podcast, which is not looking good on us.
Yeah, it was very scared and had an enormous head, apparently, according to the hat. And I mean,
that's on true. That's on.
Granted, the size of Joe in my heads that does track. But I thought he would be a lot more, not a coward. But that's beyond the point. I guess all that I'm trying to say is congratulations, Ryan, on winning this week. It seemed very much in your bag.
Thank you.
And
I am now back to back. Thank you.
I was going to say, you're on a little bit of a roll here, so you should be proud.
I am a little bit on
Maybe
a
not
roll.
about last week, because that was a little bit of a sad topic, but at least this week you can hang your hat on this one. Just not
true.
the sorting hat. We will get kicked off the podcast services if that hat's on every episode. He cussed
just
like
other
a
podcasts
sailor.
out there. If you're trying to book the Sorting Hat as a guest, just be warned. You better have the explicit tag ready to go.
That dude was.
I don't know what's above
He's very
explicit,
aggressive.
And he cussed like a sailor's hat. It was just truly embarrassing.
and not only the cursing, but the just the level of mature topics.
Yeah, the vulgarity, the misogyny. We didn't even. Just absolutely terrible.
Let's
person.
put it this way: that's an old ass hat.
yeah. That hat is of a different time and a different era. That's the only excuse you can make for
era.
It was.
Yeah, and according to my research, 10th century. So
Yeah, well, I'm also beginning to wonder if they've like retired the hats over the years because they, kind of, get out of step with the times, and maybe this is an old one.
it's kind of like when they replace UGA, and it's like this is UGA 13 or whatever.
Yeah.
This is not the original Sorting Hat.
Yeah, well, anyways, before the hat comes back, I put him in his box. How about we wrap up this episode so we can avoid any more vulgarity and embarrassment?
I'm afraid they're gonna hear him from the box.
No, I got
So
it wrapped
anyway.
up pretty good in there.
I think that's going to do it for us. I once again reign supreme, but we would like to thank everyone for listening. We appreciate the support. We're continuing to see more downloads and more listens, so we really appreciate that. We also want to thank Isle of 8 for the use of our theme song, Jean Jacket. You can check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere you find great music.
And not to interrupt, but after what you said about Nick Bernard's Instagram last week, I went and saw it. That is a cute dog. And so, everybody needs to go follow that man on Instagram. But I'll pass it back off to Joe here. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, go ahead. Give us a follow. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. We have it all at TMIWpod. Also, be sure to use that hashtag TMIWpod, and send us your debate topics, your comments. If you had a fifth house you wanted to see present, which house you think, and if any of you think you'd be part of our fifth house, please let us know so we can publicly shame you for it, because they're both bad. But we love to have that communication with you. Feel free to reach out to us, and just like you said earlier, just tell one friend. If you could tell one friend, that would be the best thing you could do for us.
And while you're online, head over to tmiwpod.com. Over there, you can check out all sorts of stuff. You can sign up for our mailing list. You can check out our merch. Maybe we'll even put some together of the houses we created today. So you can go there and buy that and rep Clamophore, rep the Hogwarts student house, and it'll be great. We've also got a section on there where you can actually email the Sorting Hat. That is, it can be found at hoardingshat420@hotmail.com. If you go there and you send some emails over to that, you will get on his email list to receive his email forwards. Just to be straight up with you, conspiracy theories, lots of curse words, just truly embarrassing stuff. So head over there. You can sign up for that.
NSFW.
Yeah, not safe for work at all.
Do not sign up with your work email.
No, do not do that. But and quite honestly, don't do it at all. It's probably a bad idea. But if you really want to, you can go do that. So head over to tmiwpod.com. Check all that stuff out. It's a great website. You'll love it.
Once again, we want to say thank you to My Kentucky Tea for their sponsorship for all of the month of August. You can find them at My Kentucky Tea or at mykentuckytea.com. As always, there is one winner, but we're definitely all losers. Later, losers.
See ya.
Ten pots for Clamophore.